Man, last week was hard, bro. You've been saying that for the past year, man. You gotta do something different. I know, man, I know.
I remember back in 2011, 2012, that Rihanna song, "We Found Love in a Hopeless Place." Like, I used to sing that song. I liked it. Like, I liked the video. I liked everything about it. But I never really truly understood the lyrics. And now, as I am older and I've experienced life a little bit, I think about what that song meant, to find love in a hopeless place. Like, you'd have to think about what is a hopeless place, man. For me, the first thing that comes in mind is war-torn places. Like, that is a hopeless place where you know that every day is a gift that you have before your life is taken. And as I've been going through life, like this year, last year, it's hard to ignore the things that are happening around the world. Like, you try your best not to engage with negativity, but it's everywhere. Social media, news cycles, everything that's been happening last week with the hurricanes. Like, we live in a time where it's very difficult to be positive, and we find ourselves in these moments of hopelessness. I remember 2020, it was like, damn, man. And then when we were all under the threat of, there's a nuclear Armageddon about to happen, and you think about things like that, and you start to realize how much of a blessing you have wherever you are, as long as you're not going through physical issues that could harm you. I found myself in the past few weeks feeling hopeless, just feeling like no matter what I do, it will never be good enough. It will never be enough. And I'm somebody who's super confident in himself, and I found it very difficult to wake up, to have ambition, to want to keep pursuing filmmaking, because it's like you do so much work, you do so much to put yourself in a good position, but you soon realize no matter what you've done, it's not enough, and it's difficult. And one thing that I've realized is the more ambition you have, the more whatever, it feels a lot of as much resistance that you take on. And at a certain point, you lose hope. So before we go any further, let's define what hopelessness is.
Someone once told me that hope is the most painful thing that can happen in life because it takes us away from reality. It takes us away from facing the things that are in front of us, the things that we see. I always say, like, how do you separate illusion or delusion from hope? We hope for the best, expect the worst, and it's like, what are you setting yourself up for? Hope. What is this thing? Why does it matter so much? Because when you live a hopeless life, man, I just don't feel like it's worth it anymore. Like, is it really?
Hopeless is having no expectation of good or success. When you're in a state of being hopeless, man, it means you can't see tomorrow. Like, you have no idea of what's going to happen. You don't know if whatever move you're making is the best move. You don't know. Like, you just don't know. And one thing that I remember when I was quite young was I listened to somebody say hope is a dangerous thing because it puts you in a position of believing something might happen when in reality nothing is probably going to happen. And coming from situations where we came from, it was quite difficult to see tomorrow. And now I find myself here, and I find myself in this career where opportunities, are not given, are earned, but it's a career where a lot of things depend on who depend on those things where it might not be your best quality. I found myself a few weeks ago going to a networking event, and being the introvert that I am, I found it the most difficult situation to be in. Like, I was in a room, in my head, time stood still, and like all I could hear was noise of just people speaking. And sometimes when people would approach you, it's like the first thing they say is, what do you do, not who are you. And for me, that was weird, but I suppose that's growing up, and that's just the situation we're in, whereby we're all trying to survive, we're all trying to create our careers, and it's more of, I ain't got time to know you. I just want to know how you affect my bottom line. But I feel like there's a challenge and a struggle with that, which for me, when I left that event, is where I left feeling like, yo, maybe I'll not make it in this industry. I felt like, because that step of networking and connecting with people, but also of not being genuine, for me was a stretch where I was like, yo, maybe I went the wrong way, man. Maybe I chose the wrong career. Maybe I chose the wrong path, and it just made me feel so wrong. Made me feel so bad. Like I was like, if this is the step, because this is the only thing I feel like I haven't really done, which is that step of networking and building a network and getting to know people who can help me get to where I'm trying to get to, and realizing just how difficult that is, because it's like, in one night, how can I sell you on me? It's about you, because the way I look at film is about me liking your work, you liking my work, and we collaborating to create something amazing together. But when I was in that space, it felt like, nah, that's not how this works. How this works is, man, who do you know and how can you both benefit from each other? But I'm making this video, man, because to everybody who's feeling hopeless, feeling some type of way, I just wanted to remind you of what hope is.
Often we look at people in different kinds of situations where sometimes I think you end up in a hopeless mess where you didn't want to be, and then there's no one who can tell you how to get out of it. And the thing is, each day you better believe is going to be better than the day before. We live in this time where people speak about manifestation and all these fancy things, and living life, facing it daily, routinely, and whatever it comes with. Some of these things make no sense to me, because I'm like, you wake up and there's a war in your country where two, political leaders are deciding to fight. Where's the hope in that, And you have the privilege to be in a country where there is no war, there is no animosity going on, but the economy is just tight. And the fact that you don't get to control your own outcomes, man, like I think about it deeply.
Hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. When you think about faith, faith is believing in the unknown. Faith is basically evidence of things hoped for, and that is having that faith, that is having belief. A lot of times people say have faith in yourself, because and once you lose hope, it's very difficult to have faith in yourself. Once you lose hope, it's difficult to trust yourself and stuff like that, And as I left, like I said, when I left that space in the party, I was like, yo, man, maybe this ain't for me. But what gives me hope is the talent and skill, right? And just the love and passion of film for me. Like when I'm watching movies, I enjoy now watching old movies than I do these new ones, because I feel one of the challenges with film is people who are they're in and they're still making the stuff they used to make, because that's the only thing that they know how to make. And those are the people with the networks, and those are the people with the stuff. Like I saw some guy, he gave me a breakdown of his budget of things he was gonna get for his film, and I was watching the things and I'm like, you don't need the majority of these things. Your money could have been put in a different direction, but those opportunities go to certain people who are quite able to speak and get themselves in good positions. Where I find hope is in those moments where you're like, yo, I don't really need a lot of what these people have and that they create in their own bubbles. But at the end of the day, the thing is, if a movie is good, if something is great, people will watch it. People will invest time in it. Like every great film that has come out in the last 5 years, I feel like people have watched, people have enjoyed, And I don't know how those filmmakers made it. Like maybe they were great networkers. But the one thing that I'm now focused on, and that I encourage you to focus on, is develop your craft, work on your craft every single day. Aim to be a little bit better and create hope for yourself in that way. Like only expectation, like I feel like it only comes from the work we do. And when you know the work and what you've been doing, trusting the process, it's easier to find hope in that, because you know, like, yo, I'm doing the work, the results are bound to come. But as long as you're not doing the work and you're procrastinating and you're feeling hopeless, life will not move, you know. And like Rihanna say, like, we found love in a hopeless place. That is an anomaly, because usually that negative energy that people carry, that we all carry when we're feeling negative, is infectious, and misery loves company. So I don't know how much of finding love in a hopeless place you really want to, or finding success in those situations. But the main thing that I think about, and I've just been talking to myself and thinking a lot, is sometimes you just have to create the situations yourself. And it's easy to want someone else to come and invest and do things, but I feel like the more we invest in ourselves, the more we fight for our dreams and our goals. Success is not guaranteed for anybody, but I think life is worth living when you're doing the things you want to do, and you're contributing to society, and you know your voice, and you know what you want to say. And sometimes, you know, luck is involved, but I feel like success is when luck meets preparation, and you just do your thing, and when who knows how long it'll take. And it's easy to lose hope when everything looks bleak, but as long as you tell yourself it's possible, I feel like hope will never leave you. And yeah, you're not alone. Don't lose faith, don't lose hope. We work in a hard industry, but it's not the end of the world, you know. And don't give up, man. Like, I feel like in this thing, the people who succeed are just the ones who never give up.
So the key question is always, what you gonna do when you feel broken, cannot fix it? What do you do? You know, I think all of us at some point, I don't know, I hope you never get asked that question, you know, like, what are you gonna do now when you're in the dark and there's no other way out? Hope is the only thing we have, in as much as it's the most painful thing we have.
One thing I know is when you're down there, some people just want to see you be the victim. They want you to give up on your mission. But no one sees the lows you're going through. I've hit rock bottom and I never told a soul. And that has been the foundation of rising up. Today, I feel broken. But here's the thing, man. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. And maybe, just maybe, that one breath is the hope I need. Hope isn't easy. It's painful. It's risky. But as long as you're standing, you're still moving forward. And that's enough for today.